The following program is rated X. That's because we're going behind the scenes at the X-Files on Sci-Fi Buzz. The fall fashion season is here, so we'll buzz to Bob's basement to try on some hallowed headwear from legendary science fiction movies. You've heard of looking to the stars for the answers? This man looks to Star Trek. The X-Files stir up extreme excitement with the X-Filophiles. And the classic movie monster that made Ace Bandages famous. Who would blow dry an owl? Only a sci-fi buzzer, that's for sure. Welcome to the program. This is Sci-Fi Central. I'm Mike Jerick, your host. Right over here, it is grooming day on Sci-Fi Buzz, apparently, and it's also the day to check the computer here. Online with the Gillian Anderson Testosterone Brigade. I'm telling you, these X-Files fans are certainly computer illiterate. I am checking out some comments here from the fans of X-Files. You know, one thing that really kind of makes me crazy is the fact that they get more postings at the X-Files than we do at Sci-Fi Buzz. Of course, on the other hand, that is the one show that is weirder and creepier than we are.
Mr. Mulder, why are those like yourself who believe in the existence of extraterrestrial life on this Earth not dissuaded by all the evidence to the contrary?
Because all the evidence to the contrary is not entirely dissuasive.
Precisely.
After a bumpy beginning, the X-Files, Fox's primetime foray into extraterrestrial territory, has miraculously made it to a second season. And the evidence is clear that the show is growing in popularity. There's already an X-Files fan club in full force, and there's a cult group of X-Filophiles bombarding computer bulletin board services. Thousands of fans rapidly review the details of every episode, and many relate their own paranormal experiences to anyone willing to lend an eye.
It's a show that's based in, our reality of today, but it's bringing in elements of the extraordinary and the fantastic. So I think that's the very important thing to do in the show, is that we're always based in reality. You have to keep constantly coming back to the fact that this is real and it could happen, and that's what makes it scary.
For those of you who haven't yet tuned in to the X-Files, the title of the show refers to a group of unsolved FBI cases concerning unexplained phenomena. Two special agents with very different views on the subject are assigned to investigate a wealth of weird occurrences.
Well, we've had lots of different cases that we've uncovered. We've had a couple that have had to do with UFOs that have been different types of abductions that have taken place. We've had an episode about a shapeshifter, a man who can dislocate his shoulder and squeeze into small spaces. We've had an episode on psychokinesis, and so there's many different areas that we've dived into, and apparently there's lots more to come.
Obviously, this isn't the first time TV has ventured into the creepy world of the unknown. Shows like Twilight Zone, Outer Limits, and Amazing Stories cranked up the viewer goosebump gauge long before the X-Files worked its way onto the boob tube. But X-Files is attempting to carve its own nocturnal niche with an artful blend of eerie suspense, intelligent stories set within the realm of extreme possibility, and more than a touch of visual trickery thrown in for good measure.
They've got a UFO here, I'm sure of it, and they'll do anything to keep it a secret, including sacrificing the lives and minds of those pilots, because what if that secret got out?
It's kind of a space where, real people are meeting the extraordinary, and that's the tone of the show. It's not the Twilight Zone, and it's not Star Trek. It's as if, the real world collided with one of those forms, and then, we have to react in that way. Try to keep our sanity while looking at fairly insane things.
Whether you believe the truth is out there or simply enjoy a good sci-fi show, the X-Files are open Fridays at 9 on Fox.
They're here, aren't they?
Mr. Mulder, they've been here for a long, long time.
And now, once again, it's time to go to Bob's Basement to visit one of the world's biggest collectors of science fiction memorabilia and a guy who really knows his way around a dumpster, Bob.
I mean, I don't know what kind of headgear he would like, but I need a helmet for this guy.
Oh, we can take care of that. Yeah, I got a few helmets. What you say?
Yeah, we're good. 7 3/8.
Okay, that's good.
Wow, what a cool collection of chapeaus.
That's right.
Oh, man, that's old.
Robot Monster, 1953. One of the worst movies ever made. Well, you can tell by the helmet. I mean, this is paper mache. The best stuff, the best junk they could buy at the time, yeah.
So this guy's wired for cable. Well, not really, he has an antenna, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think so. He was a gorilla guy in a gorilla suit, but never mind. We don't want to go into that.
Boy.
Anyway, this one is really good. This is from Andromeda Strain, which is a really good film.
That was good, but this looks kind of, well, just like a light bulb or something.
Well, it sort of looks like it. They had a big hose attached to it in the film, and they were like in a big suit thing. You know, it was a thing to keep them pure. Nothing could get to them or anything like that.
Now, speaking of hoses, this looks like a garden hose.
Well, actually, what this is from an old TV series in 1952 called Space Patrol. It was Commander Corey and Cadet Happy and everybody, and these were their helmets and spacesuits. The helmets are actually made out of tin.
What's taking some dings to the top of it, though?
Meteors.
Oh, is that what it is? Meteors?
Meteors, lots of meteors, yes.
Sure, Bob.
Now this, Outland, Sean Connery.
Oh, yeah.
This was really quite a great film. And these are made out of actually vacuum form. They're very, very light as compared to this one, which is from Alien. This is the one Sigourney Weaver wore at the end of the film.
Oh, you're
where she's fighting off the alien and finally scoots him out the door.
And she's inside there just breathing lightly, you know?
Now, this is all made out of, like, resin and fiberglass. It's very, very heavy. I don't even know how long she kept it on, as long as she did, really. The only air she really got was through these little teeny holes down here.
Is that the scene where she was just in her panties, you know?
That's just before.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But she still had them on when she had this on.
She was in there, and her perfume was filling that up.
That's right. Would you like to just try this on and see what it's all about?
How did you know? How did you know?
Well, somehow I just...
Okay.
I had
just for a second. I just want to put on for a second.
All right, fine. All right. Now, here it is.
Sigourney. She's one of my favorites, by the way.
Just put your head right in there. There you go.
Oh, I can still smell her in here.
Yeah, I'm sure you can. Now, there you are.
It's tight, though.
Well,
it's tight and heavy.
It's not bad. It's okay.
Yeah. No, it really is tight.
I mean, it's kind of neat, though. And everything. Sigourney was there and all that.
You know, this isn't as great as I thought it was going to be.
Just a minute. I've got a phone call. I'll be right back, okay?
Yeah. Boy, kind of hard to breathe in here, too, Bob. What, do you just twist it to get it off? Bob? 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 Talking about Andromeda Strain. I'm a guppy, Bob!
This is Mike Glenley of Young America, Minnesota, and I would like to recommend the Code Fire trilogy by C.S. Friedman, which includes the volumes Black Sun Rising and When True Night Falls. The storyline is excellent, and the character development in particular is quite interesting. They are the best sci-fi books I have read in some years.
Karen Joy Fowler did not rush into a career as a writer. The youthful-looking author's priorities were long centered around her husband and 2 children. But as the kids grew, so did her literary aspirations. And now, she's considered one of the premier writers of science fiction short stories.
Well, your prose is an absolute revelation.
Artificial Things, a compilation of short stories, was Fowler's first published book. Ironically, Bantam Books had initially asked her to write a long-form novel. There was just one problem.
I didn't have any ideas that I thought I could carry on for over 300 pages. And that was a problem. Even after I committed to the novel, I kept sitting down to write a novel and then discovering that 14 pages later I had said everything I had to say on that particular topic.
Fowler convinced Bantam to release a book of short stories instead of a novel. At her first science fiction conference, she found out that she was famous. Rather, make that infamous.
I had more name recognition than I expected to. I'd only published a couple of stories, and people asked to be introduced to me and seemed to know who I was. I was quite surprised. I was pleased. I was flattered. But I made the mistake, which I've now learned not to do, of sort of probing to see which of my works they had liked and where my reputation came from. And it always turned out that they had read absolutely nothing that I had written, that somehow the word had gotten out that Bantam had asked me to write a novel and that I had said no.
Hey, most of us grab fame any way we can get it. Eventually, Fowler did write that novel for Bantam, only to be told it wasn't for them. Sarah Canary is based on a true story she came across while doing historical research. The book was eventually published and even made the bestseller list for a few weeks in Chicago. But reaction to the novel was mixed.
I do think that there are more problems with the novels than there are in my short stories. That it's messier, and I'm less in control. But I sort of enjoy that aspect of it. I hope readers will also enjoy that aspect of it.
We wonder, now that she's a little older, a little wiser, would Fowler still turn down Bantam's offer to write a long-form novel?
Yes. That was the smartest thing I ever did. I got such instant fame from it. It would have taken me years to write a novel, and people would have read it and liked it or not liked it, or liked parts of it and not liked parts of it, and I would have been just another novelist. As now I'm the anti-novelist.
The rags to riches story of the Mummy and the man who learned everything he needs to know from Star Trek.
Boy, you really get wrapped up in your work, don't you? Hey, did you see our story on Lon Chaney Sr.? Did you know that his son, Lon Chaney Jr., was also a very famous monster movie star? In fact, he starred in 3 of the classic Mummy movies we're about to show you. Oh, he's armed.
Perhaps the most terrifying moment in The Mummy, and all the Mummy sequels, and all horror movies for that matter, is this one, when a heretofore sane archaeologist is instantly transformed into a madman. It's a logical reaction for someone who has just witnessed the rebirth of a 3,000-year-old corpse, but that makes it no less chilling.
He went for a little walk. You should have seen his face.
Moments like this elevate mere movies to masterpieces. They made 1932's The Mummy the 4th ghoul in Universal's horror crown after Dracula, Frankenstein, and the Wolfman.
Permit me to present you with the most sensational find since that of Tutankhamun.
The Mummy was inspired by the discovery of the tomb of the 19-year-old Egyptian king Tutankhamun in the early 1920s. When several members of that expedition died, most of natural causes, the yellow press claimed they were victims of an ancient curse.
No one has entered this door since the priests of the royal necropolis sealed it.
Those who plunder the booty of Egypt's royal dead must die. That theme runs throughout all 5 Mummy films. There's also a romantic current as the lonesome mummy tries to reunite with his beloved dead virgin princess.
If I could get my hands on you, I'd break your dried flesh to pieces.
Boris Karloff gives a moving yet reserved performance as the Mummy, the mysterious Imhotep. Except during his petrifying rebirth, Karloff is never seen in his mummified state. This film's eerie terror relies not on grotesque shockers, but the grim mood.
Clarice never really died.
The Mummy sequels of the 1940s take a more by-the-numbers approach to the above scenario. In The Mummy's Hand, Tom Tyler stars as the lovesick and vengeful mummy. Now called Charis and silenced by having had his tongue ripped out by the pharaoh, the mummy is revived by the forbidden tana leaves.
Let me go!
Horror films became more action-oriented in the 40s, featuring non-communicative zombie-like monsters. Charis was cut from this cloth. After his fiery demise in The Mummy's Hand, Charis returned to life in even worse shape for 3 more sequels. In The Mummy's Tomb, the monster is left with only one good eye, a crippled arm, and an undignified limp.
I'll take her back, Paris. Together we'll go to our camp. The 3 of us, I swear it.
Lon Chaney Jr. played the mummy in the last 3 films. Charis was one of his least favorite characters. The restrictive makeup and repetitious plots posed few challenges for the actor. And he had to spend much too much time with makeup master Jack Pierce, a man Chaney was known to despise.
You cannot stay here another hour. In a room beneath the chapel, I found the bodies of freshly murdered men.
But together, Cheney, Pierce, Tom Tyler, and Boris Karloff created a lasting icon of popular culture. With or without Tana leaves, the mummy will no doubt live on.
You know, this book is pretty good. All I Really Need to Know, I learned from watching Star Trek by Dave Marinaccio. Now, Susan, you met Dave, you know, for the interview. Does he really know that much about Star Trek? Is he? Who are you talking to?
Leonard, I'll call you back. Yeah, he does. He knows a lot about Star Trek. What was your question again?
Oh, does he really know that much, though?
Well, when I asked him if he considers himself a Star Trek expert, he said, no, I'm just a couch potato.
And will you pay attention to me?
Life doesn't revolve around you. We've got other...
We're doing a show!
Right. Well, what do you want to know about that?
Oh, just run it!
Dave Marinaccio is a handsome, seemingly sane, successful 40-something advertising executive. In his new book, All I Really Need to Know, I Learned from Watching Star Trek, he declares Star Trek to be his guiding light to personal and professional fulfillment.
People say, Dave, Star Trek was a television show, don't you get it? And you hear this. But if you think about it, it's not the source of knowledge that's important, it's the quality of knowledge. And I think the quality of knowledge in a television show written by Gene Roddenberry is going to be much higher than the quality of knowledge in, say, a book written by Fabio.
Whether he's at a business meeting or a social gathering, Marinaccio finds himself digging into the vast Star Trek resources of his mind in a concerted effort to make the best of any situation. In fact, as a diehard Trekker, he's picked up several essential life lessons.
If this planet is to develop in the way it should, we must equalize both sides again.
I think that the major thing in Star Trek is the Prime Directive. It's the basis of the whole series. And the Prime Directive is a wonderful way not only to treat a planet when you come in your spaceship to that planet, you know, you're going to respect the rights of that society and you're going to respect the people on that society or beings on that society to have a system and let them have their own system, not to interfere. That's a great way to run a personal life. You know, other people are different from you. Other people have the right to live their lives the way they want. The Prime Directive is not only a way to treat other societies, it's a way to treat other people.
Though he holds the entire crew of the Enterprise in high esteem, Marinaccio's admiration for Captain Kirk borders on idol worship.
James Tiberius Kirk, okay? He's moral, he's creative, he's intelligent, he's at the top of his profession, he's well known in his profession, and he's extremely successful with women, okay? There are worse role models than that.
Kiss me.
Believe it or not, when prodded about his own bachelor status, Marinaccio readily points out Kirk's commitment-free success with women.
Well, you ever notice that the only marriage that's really lasted on Star Trek is the marriage between, you know, Kirk and the ship? I mean, O'Brien got married to Keiko and they immediately exiled him to Deep Space Nine.
Okay, so Kirk's a little loose with the ladies. But let's not forget, he's also a hard-nosed, respected boss. Marinaccio firmly believes earthly enterprises could learn a thing or two from the captain's executive instincts.
Direct computer feed to Mr. Spock.
Hi, sir. Kirk is the best manager I've ever seen. He never uses fear or intimidation as a management tool, and that gets him a loyalty. I think people trust him and respect him. He has a foundation of trust in the place he lives. He leads through example. He's the first on a transporter pad. He's the first one down. He shows the people who work for him that their safety is his primary concern.
Marinaccio is thrilled with the positive feedback he's been getting from fans who've read his book. But his impossible dream is to receive a response from the late great bird of the galaxy himself, Gene Roddenberry.
The only reason I'm here, the only reason they're all there, is because of Gene Roddenberry, because of Gene Roddenberry's vision. He's obviously a man far ahead of his time, and as well as being just a brilliant television producer. That's who I would like to talk to, Gene Roddenberry, and maybe, you know, maybe I'll get the chance 50 years from now.
Our Buzz Best Bets are next, including a special edition of Stephen King's latest. On this week's Buzz Best Bets, horror's master of disaster strikes again, and fantastic art abounds in two exciting new genre-related books. First up, Mark V. Ziesing Books has published a limited first edition of Stephen King's latest novel, Insomnia.
He feels an obligation to his fans to occasionally produce something in the way of a special edition of his books because he knows they're appreciative of that kind of thing.
The book has been illustrated in full color by Phil Hale, a London-based artist who's worked with King on several other projects. Rabid King readers can sink their teeth into a signed and numbered version, bound in leather, and limited to 1,250 copies for $175, or a deluxe slipcase gift edition for $75. This special edition of Insomnia is available in specialty bookstores. And for those who prefer to peruse pretty pictures rather than read the fine print, Underwood Books has released Spectrum, the best in contemporary fantastic art. After a decade of planning, this comprehensive collection represents the first ever year's best for the fantastic arts. It features 195 works of art by top science fiction, fantasy, and horror illustrators from the world of comic books, novels, advertising, and beyond. Spectrum, the best in contemporary fantastic art, can be found in most major bookstores or by calling 1-800-777-8499. Those are this week's Buzz Best Bets. Well, the countdown continues anyway. Star Trek Generations will be coming out in theaters very soon, and the staff is just all a Twitter about this because they're looking forward to this special attraction in the movie. Of course, High Camp William Shatner is going to meet face-to-face with bigger-than-life guy himself, Patrick Stewart. Two contrasting acting styles. Even the non-Trekkers should find this movie interesting. And I hope you find next week's Sci-Fi Buzz very interesting. I know I will. Oh, we have a great show next week, don't we, gang?
Yeah.
That's right. It's up to them. It's going to be a monster. We'll see you next Sunday.
Buzz back to our visits with special effects master Richard Edlund and Lost in Space star Marta Kristen on the Best of the Buzz, next on the Sci-Fi Channel.